First, a North West Tonight exclusive. A Cabinet Minister has admitted a photograph showing him at a new hospital building is a fake.
Culture Secretary and Stalybridge MP James Purnell was a 20-minute drive away when the picture at Tameside Hospital was actually taken. The hospital later added Mr Purnell's image to the lineup. The hospital say the Minister had agreed to that.
However, Mr Purnell now says he had no idea the picture was going to be doctored. Well, earlier I spoke exclusively to him, and you'll hear what he had to say in a moment. But first, we go live to our reporter Stuart Flinders in Hyde. Stuart?
Well, Gordon, the Russians were famous for airbrushing people out of their photographs. Now Labour are being accused of airbrushing people in. The question is, did James Purnell consent to appearing in a doctored photograph? Well, this morning his office told me yes, he did. Tonight they're saying no, he didn't. Two things we do know tonight. The photograph has appeared in at least one local newspaper, and two, this is a fake. Local MPs celebrating a redevelopment project at Tameside General Hospital with trust managers. The trouble is, one of them, James Purnell, wasn't actually there. He arrived after the other MPs had left. The Trust's own statement describes what happened next. As we would not be able to stage a repeat of this historic day for the hospital, it says, we decided to take a photograph of Mr Purnell in the same spot very shortly after and merge it with the earlier photograph, to which Mr Purnell kindly consented. We apologise if anyone feels misled by this. The photograph was sent to local newspapers. At least one editor spotted it wasn't genuine and decided not to run it. But it does appear in today's edition of the Glossop Chronicle. The Chronicle's editor says it was published in good faith, and he certainly wouldn't have printed it if he'd realised it was a fake.
I just don't think that a newspaper will publish this photograph knowing that it's basically misleading the readers. It's not a thing an editor wants to do, because an editor should value his readers and endeavour to come across with the truth and sincerity. So it lowers the newspaper's reputation as well.
Some of Mr Purnell's constituents here in Hyde do feel they've been misled.
I think it's more of like a slippery slope. I mean, once you start doing little things, it's probably just a little thing, but once you start on that road, where do you stop?
He shouldn't be on the photograph. It's giving a false impression that he was there on time.
It's not very responsible, is it, for someone who's representing the borough in the House of Parliament? It's a nice enough man, though.
It's not that difficult to manipulate images these days to create a whole new virtual biography for Mr Purnell. But he is the Culture Secretary, and he has lectured audiences in recent weeks about trust and the media.
What is true of both politics and broadcasting is that if you devalue the only currency you have, the trust between you and the public, just like us, that is a serious cul-de-sac.
Mr Purnell says he didn't realise the photo was for newspaper publication. He was only trying to be helpful. Well, perhaps predictably, the Tories are trying to make capital out of this. The Conservatives' shadow culture secretary, Jeremy Hunt, said tonight, so much for the spin-free era we were promised under Gordon Brown. Here is cast-iron proof that Labour ministers are quite happy to fake it if they can get away with it. James Purnell's position as culture secretary looks completely untenable.
Stuart, thank you very much. Well, as I said earlier, I have been speaking to James Purnell, and I asked him if he knew that the hospital planned to doctor that photograph.
No, I thought it would be used in a way which would make clear that the photos have been taken at separate times. And I've been campaigning for the new buildings at Tameside Hospital for a long time, and the hospital asked me to come in with the other MPs to make sure that that campaign was recognised, and I was very happy to help. Unfortunately, I arrived a few minutes late, and one of the other MPs had to go, so I agreed to have my picture taken, but I thought that it would be made clear that it had been taken slightly later. I think there's just been a misunderstanding about that, and I completely accept that the hospital acted in good faith.
You were given no indication that the plan was to merge that picture with the other MPs to produce a fake photo?
No, I didn't think a fake photo would be produced, and indeed I didn't see this photo before it went out, and if I had done I wouldn't have agreed to it. But it was there. We were there to celebrate the fact that we were going to be getting new buildings at Tameside, £88 million of new investment, and I was happy to help out the hospital, as I always am.
But would you say there totally contradicts what Tameside General Hospital have said? Because in a statement they've said, and I've got it here, we decided to take a photograph of Mr. Purnell in the same spot very shortly and merge it with the earlier photograph, to which Mr. Purnell kindly consented.
Well, clearly there has been a misunderstanding about that. I thought it would be done in a way that made clear that I had arrived later and the picture was a slightly different one, for example, having an inset or something like that. As I say, I didn't see this picture, and if I had done, I wouldn't have approved it going out.
How can there be a misunderstanding when the hospitals say they explained it to you and you consented to it?
Well, it's perfectly possible to do that in a way which makes clear that the photographs were taken at a different time, and people do that the whole time. I didn't see the photograph, but I think the main thing is there's been a misunderstanding. I was there to try and campaign for my local hospital. I've been doing that for many, many years, and people in Tameside are going to be getting a brand new building which is massively going to improve health in the area.
Right. But the hospital said what I've just quoted to you. You say that's a misunderstanding. But your press office also told our reporter that you agreed to this arrangement, merging the photos, because you were upset at being late and you believed it was for internal NHS use only, that it wouldn't be going to the newspapers, and that's why you agreed. And we checked that with your press office, not once, not twice, but 3 times, and each time they said that was the case.
Yeah, no, I agreed to have the photograph taken, but I thought it would be done in a way which made clear that they'd be taken at separate times. And, there has obviously been a misunderstanding about that, but, the hospital have apologised for sending out a misleading photograph. I completely accept that, but, I think they acted in good faith. They were just trying to make sure that all MPs in the area were recognised for the campaign that they'd done to make sure we got the new investment at the hospital.
So your press office also misunderstood what was happening? Everybody has misunderstood you?
No, it's quite clear that I agreed to have the photograph taken, but I thought it would be done in a way which made clear they'd been taken at different times. So, for example, having an inset or having a line down the middle or having a statement making that clear. So I think
that's not what your press office told us. Your press office said that you agreed to the merged photograph, the fake photograph, because you thought it was only for internal NHS use. Well, and we confirmed that with them on 3 separate occasions.
I agreed to have my photograph taken. I did not agree for it to be done in a way which made it look like they had been done at the same time. I was there 20 minutes later, and I thought it would be absolutely fine to help out the hospital, to have my picture taken, for them to use it in a way which made clear that it would be taken at a separate time. And that's exactly what I thought was going to happen, but there was clearly a misunderstanding about that.
Right. So the hospital got it wrong, and your press office got it wrong.
No, what my press office said is exactly what I've just said to you.
No, it's not what your press office said. Your press office said to our reporter that you knew the photo was going to be merged, and they said that on 3 separate occasions to us, and that you'd agreed to it.
No, that is completely wrong, that the picture would be used, but in a way which made clear that I'd arrived at later and that they were separate photographs. And that is, as I say, I never saw this photograph before it went out. I wouldn't have approved it if I had seen it.
So there's no question of you considering your position then, Secretary of State?
No, absolutely not. I was trying to help my local hospital, and I thought the picture would be used in a different way from the one that it has been. I didn't see it before it went out, but I think the hospital acted in good faith. They were just trying to promote the extra investment, and we were just trying to make sure that we could do that as well.
Secretary of State, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Gordon.